Welcome back to Sports Wrap Live, everybody. It is an NFL Championship Sunday. We are at Junction Bar and Grill. Bonus time at Junction Bar and Grill. Of course, you guys can catch us here every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. The Wrap Pack is in the building. The OG Wrap Pack is in the building. Man, that's how we do it over here in Midtown in the shadow of downtown Houston. If you guys want to join in on the action before this game is over, I know everybody's tuned in to the NFC Championship game right now, but if y'all want to jump on the line and give us your thoughts on the early game where the Patriots took down the Ravens in a close game, closer than a lot of people thought, y'all can call us at 713-212-5790. Of course, that is, or tweet us at Sports Wrap Live, and that's rap with 2 P's. I'm going to tell y'all every time because 2 P's are better than 1. But right now, we've got the NFC Championship game in progress. Of course, the 49ers versus the Giants, which looked like a pretty fairly even matched first half. You know, I don't think there was any big surprise with that unless Eli just went ballistic on a San Francisco Giants defense that has carried them all season.
Well, I think it's pretty surprising. You just said the San Francisco Giants. I think you got baseball on your mind.
I'm sorry, 49ers.
My surprise is that Vernon Davis, you know, basically they're still letting him get these huge plays. I would double bracket him no matter what. He's not going to beat me. I would make Crabtree beat me. I'd make some of these other wide receivers, Delaney Walker, some of these other guys beat me. But
yeah, where's Crabtree been?
I don't know.
Non-existent.
But I would not let Vernon Davis beat me. I mean, that's twice now that he pretty much roaming out there on free coverage or just outrunning other guys. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing. I didn't like the penalty that he got for unsportsmanlike conduct or whatever after he celebrated and jumped up on that podium. They said that the one, you know, dunking over the crossbar or jumping into the stands was a grandfathered in, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what Mike Pereira was saying.
Fact. They're changing that?
No, they've been grandfathered in from the beginning.
Fun fact right there.
So you can't, he stood up on that TV telecam prompter.
Yeah.
So that's why he got the penalty for that one. The second one was just completely stupid, the penalty he got for that, where he was basically trying to get a piggyback ride onto some of those guys who were trying to push and shoving.
That was pretty goofy, man.
Yeah.
Goofy, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing?
Other than that,
that's being nice, G.
Yeah, takeaway has to be Victor Cruz is mauling Carlos Rogers out there. Like, this is Carlos Rogers' probably worst game he's ever played in his life.
Well, hey, when
Cruz has 10 catches.
When your last name is Cruz and the guy across whose name is Carlos, of course you're going to go at him.
Yeah, man, if that was a salsa two-step, he would be shook. it's pretty embarrassing right there if you're Carlos Rogers right now. And Victor Cruz pretty much had his way. Again, another last drive to finish out the first half for the Giants to where they're able to get points. That might be the difference in this game. Right now they're losing by 4 because the 49ers came back and got a touchdown to put them over the top. But that could be the end up, you know, the deciding factor in this game.
Well, because no matter what, the 49ers defense is getting to Eli. I mean, we've seen 3 straight plays now where they've gotten pressure on Eli. Of course, we got the games live here on 42 screens, so we can see all the action. But, yeah, another 3 and out for the Giants.
You kind of feel like they're eventually going to get it going because as long as the 49ers don't score one more time, get another touchdown, like even if the 49ers get a field goal, you still have that feeling that the Giants still have it in them because we've seen late game heroics from them twice against the Cowboys and multiple other times against even the Miami Dolphins this year and against other teams as well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Not to mention the last week, the playoff game.
Sure.
I mean, that was a huge, huge comeback win after Drew Brees and the Saints.
Whoa.
Wait a minute. Of course, if you guys are watching the game live, we're watching it too. We've got it on here at
we're about to see a Jacoby just now.
Yeah, there was
some Jacoby moments in the New England game.
There sure
I was like, Julian Edelman, I think it was him, they kind of bounced it off his head, or maybe it's Wes Welker.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you guys doing?
That was pretty ugly.
Oh. But who do you think's going to win this game right now, Adam?
I really think the Giants pull it out in the end.
I do too.
I think San Francisco, look, that was close right there. That was a close play. I think San Francisco, they just can't score against this Giants defense like they need to put it away.
I also think it's going to be very close if Vernon Davis can come up big again. Can Alex Smith do it again if they have a late second like they need to get one more drive? I don't know. This Giants secondary, though, is very, very weak and very thin. I mean, they pretty much you saw both of the touchdowns for Vernon Davis. So it's going to be shaky right now to see if they can.
And I was just going to add to that, we're probably going to get about a million tweets just now and about 1 million of them from Houston Texans about this Jacoby play that might just happen, you know, just now. Just letting you know that right now because
well, I'm sure Jacoby sent a bunch of little IMs today and texts some tweets.
I'm not
Billy
the only
Cundiff
one.
Being like, dude, thank you. Thank you
I feel your pain.
Yeah, thank you for being in a tougher city than me, doing worse than I did.
Right.
You really might end up in that vacant. Not
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I will.
Oh, man. Well, anytime it comes down to a kick, you know coaches, they're holding their breath. And to see Harbaugh's reaction and then to see T. Sizzle's reaction when he said, "Oh, my God."
I was waiting for him to
It's
say, not balling so hard right now. Sorry.
It's just crazy how many games I've watched probably in the last 6 months that have come down to kicks. Be it college or NFL. So many bowl games, all the Boise games, all the Alabama first losses, the more bowl games, the Georgia game, the Stanford, Oklahoma State game, this game.
The LSU-Alabama game.
Yeah, that
Came
one.
down to missed kicks.
Yeah, the first one, yeah. The second one, I mean, even that kid, he was still missing kicks.
Oh, God.
I'm just so done with kickers. Yeah, I hate them.
No, exactly. It should have been called Year of the Kicker and not Year of the Quarterback. That's what it's been. I do not want my game to ride on the line on somebody's foot. I don't
really,
want that.
It's not the kicker's fault. It's
No.
the coach's fault for putting him in that position.
Situation. Exactly.
If you make a little bit smarter call, try and push it to where you get your kicker in a better position. You're not in that situation where, oh, he missed a 50-yarder. Well, you put him in a 50-yard situation. What did you expect? You knew it was you didn't. That's probably a 30-70 proposition at best for some of these kickers.
Well, as they review this play right now, of course, in the fourth quarter, Andrew, I want to go back to the New England game because you said last week New England really didn't show you anything.
Well, I didn't learn anything.
You didn't learn anything. What did you learn today?
I learned that Vince Wilfork is still a bad man. I mean, a bad man. He played probably one of the best games of his career. He was constantly in that backfield, constantly stirring something up, whether it be stopping a pass, stopping the run. Ray Rice, how many total yards do you think he had in this game?
That's a great question. Gons, you guess first.
55.
87.
78 on 22 rushes and 1 catch.
$1, Bob.
$1, Bob.
I mean, and most of it I would say is because Vince Wilfork was clogging that up. Vince Wilfork played the Haloti Nada part for the Patriots defense, and he was just all over the place. It was pretty impressive.
Well, that's 2 games in a row that Haloti Nada didn't play Haloti Nada in the Haloti Nada game.
True.
I mean, everybody thought he was going to be a big stopper for Baltimore last week, as I keep an eye on this game. It's riveting football today. It's riveting football.
It was. I mean, it was a pretty exciting game. I don't know how this game would have gone if it was the Texans, going to New England. I think it would have been, I'm not sure that they could have held as tough and made it such a defensive game like Baltimore did, because I know Baltimore, that's the only thing they really have. But it was a pretty good game. This game really could go down to the wire, this Giants-49ers game, so we'll have to see.
I think so. We're well into the fourth quarter. We're well into Sports Wrap Live here from Junction Bar and Grill, where the beer is flowing, the ice is snowing, and we're always knowing what's going on in the world of sports, sounds, and sneakers. So if you guys want to jump in on the chat or jump in on the conversation, call us at 713-212-5790.
I just want to pass along some news I was telling you before the show is supposedly Chip Kelly, the head coach of Oregon in college football, he's being rumored for the job for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which can mean one of 2 things. It can mean that he either A, sees the writing on the wall that they're going to get some sanctions from the Will Lyles stuff and some of those things, the C-Strunk stuff from before the season.
Pete Carroll situation.
Yeah, it could be a Pete Carroll situation, or it could be a situation where he's always wanted to be an NFL head coach and the money's just too good to pass up. The people who own the Bucs.
What do you think? Let me ask you.
Well, the people who own the Bucs also own like one of those European soccer teams.
That's been the talk.
They got tons and tons of money. So, I mean, if they're backing up the Brinks truck and you've always wanted to have that challenge, I mean, why not?
Well, then he could draft Darren Thomas, because apparently Darren Thomas came out this week.
Darren Thomas isn't getting drafted.
He came out this week and said he's putting his name in the hat for the NFL draft.
Yeah, he ain't getting drafted.
What do you think about that? Like, that was out of nowhere.
Whoever's in his ear isn't giving him good advice.
Is it Will Lyles?
No, but that recruiting service, you never know. There was dead players on that recruiting service, and they were on that piece of paper. So we'll see. I think it could be a little bit of the Pete Carroll situation where he might be hearing something that Will Lyles might be
Well, you know what? Speaking of college coaching, of course, I think we should send our condolences out right now to Joe Pa and the Paterno family. Of course, hey, Papa Joe passed away. I want to get into it later in our shout-outs. I want to get into it in more detail, but I just thought we would mention it since we are into 30 minutes into Sports Wrap Live, and he's a coaching legend.
He is. He was. Condolences to his family. I don't have many good things to say about him, but condolences to his family.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, when the Admiral goes down, guess what? Everybody else in rank goes down.
A bigger issue this might be the Twitter thing. Did you see what happened on Twitter? It got reported that he was dead on last night.
Yeah.
And then they had to issue a retraction from CBS Sports and from one of their sports stations up in College, PA.
Guess what?
And then this morning, when he actually did die, they had to, they went through it again.
Guess what?
What?
He died when they pulled him off that sideline.
True.
He was dead. He was dead. If he's not going to be Penn State's head coach, his life was over. Walking dead.
True. He also had terminal cancer. So, I mean, it's...
Well, what...
Yes, it might have gotten sped up by the fact that he, didn't think that he had much to live for. They know he was no longer part of that program.
You really don't want to fight anymore. Where's that fight, that Nittany Lion fight?
And I don't know what to say about that, but I definitely think that it was an interesting situation for social media for sure about the arguing whether get it right or be first, because so much Twitter is who got it first. But if I were to ask you, Adam, who even got this story first correctly, I don't know. I don't even know who got the Pujols deal to the whenever he's supposed to go to the Marlins and he ended up with the Angels. I don't know who got. I don't care who gets any of these stories first. I don't. All I care about is I remember the stories people wrote about him afterwards and the analysis. I'm like, that's a pretty good description of what's going to happen afterwards, or someone explaining, the intricacies of the deal. I don't care about who gets it first, though. I know that's a big thing about the internet, but
well, just get it right. That's always been our saying. That's always been our motto here on Sports Rap Live for sure. Well, Andrew, you know what? While we wait for this game to finish, let's take a moment here and talk about Junction Bar and Grill, 160 West Gray. Of course, big screens, little screens, flat screens, round screens. We got it all here. Bar screens, bathroom screens. We got it all. If you want to catch all the live sports action with all the packages that you can imagine, and I'm not just talking about my own, I'm talking about all the sports packages here. Even my cousin Katie liked that one. Appreciate that, cuz. Come on, Bob.
We'll cut that. Well, hey, we'll fix that in editing, Gons. All right.
All right.
Yeah, post production.
All right. It's Sunday night, man. Come on. Everybody's hanging out, having a good time.
All right.
Me too. See?
There you go.
See? I can go.
I'm not gonna say I'm rocking out with my, out, but.
Oh man. All right. Well, if you guys want to come by here, it's right in the shadow of downtown Houston, and man, there's always great beer specials, great food specials. The crawfish look nice and big, straight out of the bayou, out there in Lafayette. Shout out to Al the Baba. You know what? He's on his way back to H-Town. He's representing for Louisiana, the whole state. The mud bugs look great. The barbecue is incredible. The hamburgers are phenomenal. The pizza's great. The crowds here are just on the edge of their seat. So if you guys want to come by, UFC, boxing, NFL, MLB, NBA, whatever it may be, whatever your sports fix is, you come by Junction Bar and Grill at 160 West Gray in the shadow of downtown Houston.
I wanted to say on Thursday something we're going to be talking about is the Senior Bowl is coming up on Saturday, this coming weekend. So I want to kind of start getting into some of these guys who are on there, because there's going to be a lot of hot draft picks. A lot of guys who Texans players and Texans fans might be thinking about who are we going to draft. Some of the wide receivers they're talking about are going to be there at that draft. So I think it'll be interesting to see who's there. We're going to preview some of them, talk about players I'm looking forward to watching.
Well, of course, Thursday morning when you tune into the big show on Sports Talk 790 with Matt, Adam, and Lance, Lance is going to be starting to focus on that draft. As we start,
I think he's down there, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is all over it.
Right.
He is all over it. The guys, some of the guys are out there at Super Bowl holding it down on Radio Row from Sports Talk 790. So we want to send our shout outs to them for sure. But yeah, I mean, the more we look at the draft, the faster it's going to go by. And then all of a sudden we're looking up and it's April. And it's time to talk about where the Texans are selecting and who they're selecting and what trades are possibly being made.
They're going to have if you do it from reverse order, the 7th pick. So the Texans finished in 7th place based on order of record. Does that kind of feel right for the Texans, 7th place?
That's kind of weird.
It feels a little bit better. I feel like they finished a little higher than that to me.
20s.
We had a huge touchdown just now by Mario Manningham.
To make the score 17-14 Giants.
Well, 16-14 pending the extra point.
Yes, Lawrence Tynes is pretty money from.
But get down here if you want to watch the rest of this game. It's going down.
I know. We're going to recap the entire game, and we'll look ahead at the Super Bowl as we give you our Super Bowl predictions coming up later on. But Andrew, let's switch gears a little bit as we keep our eye on this game. I want you to get into some of that college basketball that you were talking about on Thursday. Some of the games that you looked ahead to.
It was a big weekend.
Absolutely. You thought it was kind of going to be a snoozer.
I did kind of think it was going to be a snoozer, but yesterday we had number 1 in the nation go down. Syracuse finally fell to, of all teams, Notre Dame. That's surprising because Notre Dame has been really, really bad this season. It's kind of surprising. It was right off the bat, they were just getting, swamped. It wasn't really, they had a lot of fight, and then they tried to come back in the second half, but it just wasn't meant to be. So that was kind of surprising. We also had, I'm trying to find the game. I know Kansas got by Texas. That was a close game.
That was actually a good game.
Yeah. Missouri barely got by Baylor, and that one was in Waco. That was a really impressive win for Missouri. Tomorrow, they're going to be the #2 team in the nation, maybe #1 team in the nation. For Missouri, that's a really big step considering Frank Hayes is a first-year coach there. I mean, he's been a coach in the past, but that's his first year there. And for them, he was considered to be on the hot seat coming into this season. For him to go be on the hot seat to maybe having the #1 team in the nation, that's pretty impressive, Adam.
That's a great turnaround.
The Big 12, it's going to be really exciting between them, Kansas, and Baylor, all three of which I think can win that conference. So that'll be interesting to watch. Some of the other games are under the radar. Oh, another one we can touch on. Florida State beat Duke. I didn't think they could do it.
How about that? Back-to-back wins over North Carolina and Duke at their place. Well,
that's
I'm
really
sorry,
impressive.
North Carolina was in Florida State, but Florida State played in
and this is a Florida team. I think they scored like 10 points in the second half of one game this season. They lost to some bad teams. They lost to Harvard. They lost to Princeton. They lost to Princeton, man.
Shout out to ghosts of Florida State past, Bobby Sura and Harold Miner. I'm sorry, Harold Miner went to USC.
Florida State, that's
Who am I thinking
Sam
of?
Cassell.
Sam Cassell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of the other games that I kept an eye on that I was watching, Washington beat Stanford. That's a pretty big game for them. They had dropped one earlier in the week. So that's a big win for them to keep they're kind of staying in contention for the Pac-12. I still think it's going to be Cal that takes that one eventually.
You think Cal's going to take the Pac-12?
I do.
Wow.
It's pretty nip and tuck right now. They lost. Cal just beat Washington, who was probably the second best team. Stanford's in that mix too. But I think Cal's going to take it. They're probably the most talented team of all of them. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now as far as college basketball. There was Tennessee beat UConn. UConn is falling really fast, really hard.
Now, we talked to Fife on Thursday night, Fife Dog from A Tribe Called Quest, and now Fife had UConn on his 5 teams to look forward to. Is this UConn team kind of up and down right now?
Well, it's the fact that they don't have Ryan Boatwright. He came into the season, he was suspended, and then he came back to the team, and now he's suspended again, and we don't know what it's for. All we know is it's for something that deals with his cousin. I mean, who knows about about that cousin stuff as far as, like, you have a lot of cousins you're close with. Not close like that, but you have a family that you keep around.
Yeah, absolutely. I got
But this
family
UConn team,
all over the place.
They've lost 4 out of the last 6. Their wins are against West Virginia and Notre Dame. So, I don't know. They're kind of skating right now on some thin ice.
Now, who did Baylor play over the weekend?
They beat Missouri. The one I want to talk about North Carolina from this past week is, they had the devastating loss at Florida State that everyone's still talking about. But they also lost, I think it was Dexter Strickland, towards ACL, is out for the year. That's a huge blow. He was probably their best perimeter defender. So losing a guy like that, I honestly think this North Carolina team is done. I think they're done. They don't have an alpha dog personality on that team that's going to take over a game and refuses to lose.
Fun fact, there has never been a national champion who has taken a beating like they took to Florida State.
Those stats are the stupidest stats ever because these are stats that get thrown away all the time because they eventually get broken. Gons, did you know that there's no team that did blah, 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 blah? I could just list some game that just happened.
Are you serious?
Yeah. What? Every game records are broken,
But you just said it yourself, North Carolina's done.
I think they're done because of what does that mean? What does a loss by 30-something points mean? It means they have problems. Why did they lose that game by that much? It's not because they lack talent. They're probably one of the most talented teams in the nation. They lost that game because they just didn't care. They were just errant passes. They didn't try and go for it. Nobody's diving on the floor for balls. Nobody's putting forth that extra effort. So I think that's why they're going to end up being a failure. It's not because they lost this game. It's just a game.
It's like a team morale with those guys. Like Andrew, we were talking about it a couple weeks back or actually at the BRC, about how bunch of softies they are. I guess the big thing with Hansborough, when he was there, they kind of had
Psycho T.
Yeah, they kind of had a mantra coming in there that they were going to go after it. They were going to hustle, play hard. But now it's just kind of you're just kind of throwing it there. They're just going with the motions,
That goes back though. You had crazy Rasheed Wallace. You had Jerry Stackhouse. You had Eric Montross. You had Raymond Felton. Like guys that would get in your kitchen.
Well, I think Kentucky has a player like that. That's why I like this Kentucky team so much. Is Michael Kidd-Gilchrist? He's not going to win National Player of the Year. He's not. He's probably not even the most talented player of the year.
Does he care?
But this kid is a junkyard dog. He is the go-to guy. He will always step up and take that big shot. He will not shy away. He's the leader of that team. He's probably not the most NBA level talented. Probably Davis. What am I thinking? Anthony Davis, yeah. And Terrence Jones is definitely not even a leader on that team. That guy has shied away from so many big shots and been benched in key moments. But, you know, having a guy like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, I think that's what's going to put Kentucky over the top. I think Syracuse has some of those guys, and C.J. Fair and some of these other kids.
What happened with Syracuse? In the weekend that they find out that the accuser of Bernie Fine had doctored some emails, they get their first
Do you think
loss.
any of that stuff matters to those kids?
No, it doesn't. No. I'm just saying, what happened to Syracuse?
It's just playing on the road. Playing on the road is tough, man. It's the toughest thing in college sports is to win on the road. And when you go into a hostile environment, it just wasn't their night. That's more or less what it was. It just wasn't their night.
Well, and I'm sure Boeheim is going to use that for motivation. He's going to use that for going forward as you get closer and closer to the run for March Madness, right?
I totally agree. And the other thing I want to touch on, another team we haven't been touching on, well, here and there, is Murray State. Still undefeated.
I don't know how you could come out of a Syracuse story talking about touching on.
I was about to add that.
Well, they both were undefeated. It was those two were the last two undefeated teams, pretty much.
All right. I just hope there's not a little boy named Murray around.
No.
Oh, okay.
Murray State's they're gonna go undefeated. They're gonna go undefeated, and it's a great season.
Oh.
What's gonna be exciting at it is if Murray State can get like a 3 seed. I mean, that's ridiculous. A 3 seed for a Murray State. They're going to be...
What was Butler seeded last year?
I think an 8.
They were an 8 seed? They made it to the final?
They barely made the tournament, Adam. They barely made the tournament. They only made the tournament because they won the Horizon Conference. They were probably the 3rd best team in the Horizon in the regular season.
Were they the lowest seed to ever make it to the finals?
No. There was also, what was it, a couple years back? Who am I thinking of? I can't name off the top of my head.
Well, there was a Seton Hall team years ago that made it. I don't know if they were that low of a seed.
Yeah, there have been other teams, though. I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that Butler was something not that high last year. I can find it right now. But this Murray State team, I'm telling you, they're going to go undefeated, and they're going to have a pretty high ranking when it comes to pretty high C when it comes to the national championship tournament and whatnot. Now, there's a lot of talk about, you know, how they can still fix it as
now. Tell the people out there, the casual college basketball fan, what conference is Murray State even playing?
Yeah, let me know.
Tell G.
The OVC. Ohio Valley Conference.
I got you.
Not the LBC, G.
No, not the MVC, the Missouri Valley, but the Ohio Valley.
Ohio Valley Conference. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm finding last year the Butler team. Last year they were a... What does that have the seed on?
So they're a team I'll care about if I see them in the Final Four. Pretty much, because no one.
You're going to hear about if they're a 5 seed. This is going to be the most popular 12 versus 5 seed probably pick ever, because people are going to be like, Murray State completely overrated. They hadn't played anyone, and to be honest, they really haven't played that many good teams. But I mean, undefeated is undefeated.
Well, this is a team you've mentioned all season, Andrew.
Yeah.
I mean, since preseason. What is it about this squad that really has put themselves on the map as far as the Martinez report goes?
It's a lot of veteran leadership. This is also a team that's been there before. This is a team that's made it to the second weekend. This season, I was talking about their wins. They beat Memphis, who is, I don't even want to talk about Memphis.
Right.
They're pretty much a failed project. They've beaten Dayton, who's a pretty good team. They've beaten UAB, who's They beat Southern Miss. So they have a few teams or a few wins in their resume that are okay. The rest of the teams they're going to play the rest of the way are probably bottom 200 RPI teams or below. I mean, they're not going to play anyone tough. But it's that confidence of going into a tournament undefeated. Now, there's always talk of is one loss a good loss? I think that's completely baloney.
Yeah.
No one ever, you don't, unless, because sometimes you take that loss and then you kind of shy away from it. Other teams take that loss and are like, you know what? We need something else to work on. We can regroup. So.
Right on, man. Well, hey, we are marching on towards March Madness. Of course, you can catch all the games on Sports Talk 790. Can't wait for that.
That's going to be exciting.
Yo, from that first tip-off on Thursday.
I might be in Vegas for that.
Hey.
I might be in Vegas for that.
Hey, might be.
I hope so. I've been there it's been a while.
We'll find our sister station there in Vegas for you, so you can just post up in the studio and give us all the rundown of all the March
Mandalay
Madness.
Bay or the probably at the Hard Rock or something like that. Who knows?
Absolutely. We'll get you in studio out there so you can send us your parlays for your tournament. Well, hey,
I'm sure it always gets interesting.
I'm sure we're going to do a lot of fantasy. Of course, Andrew, if
we have a segment coming on later tonight talking about fantasy draft.
We do. We do. That's right. And it's not your typical fantasy draft.
No, it's not.
Nope. But hey, I got to take a real quick mention and shout out Diamond Supply Co. Of course, 451 North Fairfax in West Hollywood, California. If you're online right now listening on the iHeartRadio app, we got to send a big shout out to you guys for keeping us shining and sending us some some nice new gear to rock to the H-Town Sneaker Summit, which is coming up next Sunday at Reliance Center, 3 to 6 p.m. Sports Rap Live will be live on air. And, of course, 3 to 8 p.m., the event doors will be open, wide open right there at the Reliant Center in the shadow of the Astrodome. Yeah, monster trucks coming up soon, right, G?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm ready for that.
I bet you
I'm ready
are.
for some Gravedigger, baby.
I bet you are. With this music playing right now, man.
Gravedigger.
I know you're ready. I know you're ready. Well, let's take them out with a little bit of this. Hey, when we come back, this game is getting close. It's getting close.
It's tied now.
It is tied, 17-17.
I want to see some tears.
You need some tears?
I want to see some tears at the end of this game.
All right, well, you better hope for a Vernon Davis touchdown.
Come on, VD.
Wait, easy.
Hey, not that one.
Easy. I don't want to hear you calling out for VD.
No.
All right, your wife could be listening.
Oh, no.
Oh!
You know what?
Get that coupon for that penicillin.
Thank you, G. Thank you, G.
I gotta say that was pretty clever, sir. I will get you back on that one.
Okay. All right. I deserve it.
Just wait.
I deserve it. All right, G. Well, let's take them out with a little bit of this rock and roll.
Do
and if you guys want to get in right after the game, call us up on the Silverleaf Ghost Pepper Hotline. Say hello to Bob for us.
Yes.
Back at the mothership. And you can call in at 713-212-5790. Of course, we are live from Junction Bar and Grill. Take a quick break. When we come back, we're taking you till 9 o'clock and the end of this NFC Championship game. We'll be right back here on Sports Rap Live.